Hey, what's going on, guys? In this simple tutorial, we're going to create this simple JavaScript application. As you see here, I have a question here, and for this question, we have a couple of answers. So every time I refresh, we're gonna get a random a random answer and a random quiz and a random question and a random answer for this. These are not random answer; these are came and sorted randomly, and every time you saw that I refresh it, it gives me a random question, and from this question we can select the right one. Here it asks us what is the most powerful programming language. Of course, there is not any powerful programming language to be better than all, but for now I just select JavaScript because I love JavaScript, but that don't mean to be jealous and so that the Python is better or Java. So whatever, and when I click on a right answer, it's going to tell me here that you are right. But if I click on a wrong answer, and it's going to generate another question, and then sort these answers randomly. And here we again, if I click on a wrong answer, for example, we're gonna click on a PHP, and here we get you are wrong, and generate a random question every time I click on. So let's create a DAO, but before we start writing codes, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. So here I've already created an HTML file. So in this HTML, we're gonna write its HTML. Here I'm gonna come and say and define a container. So I'm gonna say container, and inside this container, what we wanted to do, we're gonna define a div and call that, give it a class of result and ID of result too. So I'm gonna say result, and after that we wanted to create a question holder. So I'm gonna say div dot quiz holder, which stands for question holder, and we want to give this ID to question holder, quiz holder. And after that we need to I'm gonna pass a br here, and here we need to define div for the answers too. So I'm gonna say div with the class of answer and with the ID of answer 1. And now we're gonna do the same for the rest. Here it's going to be 2, here it's going to be 3, and it's going to be 4. Now we're done with the HTML, and in the result, for now I'm gonna pass the result here. So I save it and go to the browser. This is the project that we are working on, and here we only have the result. And I'm gonna link it with a CSS file that I have already created. So I'm gonna say link, and it's going to be a south.css. Now if I save it and go to the browser, refresh, it's going to look like this. If you want the CSS, it's so simple. I admitted that I'm not really good in the styling, and I feel so lazy to learn it. So this is our CSS. If you want to copy this, else you should design it even better than me. And after that, it's time to be connected with the JavaScript. So I'm going to say script src, and our file name is going to be script.js, but we don't have this script.js. Let's create it out. So I'm going to say script.js, and inside this we need to have access to all elements that we define in HTML. So I'm going to say here result equal to document dot get element by ID, and because we already gave it an ID, we can access it using its ID. We need for the quiz holder for the answer 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here I have to change these things too. I'm gonna say quiz holder, and this is going to be the answer 1. Let me just copy this, and we're gonna pass it to here and just change it to the 2, and this is going to be 3, and the last one is going to be 4. And we have to change the variable here too. So I'm going to say quiz holder, and here we just pass this to 1, to the 2, and this one is going to be 3, and the last one is going to be 4. So I'm gonna paste this until here 4, and let me just check out if our JavaScript and HTML is connected. I just alert something and say hello and save it, go to the browser, refresh, and here we get hello because we connected. So after this, I'm gonna come here and define a function here. So I'm gonna say function, and I'm gonna call it get random question. And we wanted to get a random question, but from where we wanted to get a random question from this file. Here I should use JSON, but for some reasons computers didn't work on JSON even though I tried match, but something is wrong with, so I used JavaScript module. If you didn't know about the JavaScript module, you can go ahead and watch tutorial. It's not a framework to be confused that maybe it's a framework, but it's a new feature in JavaScript. You can go ahead and watch it out in my ES6 tutorial, and its name is module, I guess so you can go ahead and watch that. So what I did here I define an array, and in this array whenever you saw a brackets, that means that is an array. There is some case of array, and in this array each element of this array is an object. Here you can see that we have the comma. That means that this is an array, but its elements are object. What we have in this object, we have a 5 property. Those property of questions and with its answers. So here we have the questions, and here we have the answers. And for the right answers, I just pass a second argument, which is a second element, which is true here. You can pass whatever you want, it didn't really matter. So for the second element, this is the second element, and fourth one, and you can also use JSON, but I told that for some reason my computers didn't work on a JSON. That's why I use the module. So here that we have the module, here we have to also tell the HTML that it's a module. So I'm gonna say type, wow, type, and it's going to be module. And after that, here we exported this. Export is used to export a variable, a class, or a function. Now that we export this, on the top of this we have to import it. To import something, here I'm gonna come and say import. What we wanted to import, we wanted to import the question. So I'm gonna say inside the brackets question. And from which file we wanted to import the question from, we're gonna open up the double quotation here and pass the dot, which is in the same directory, and point out to that file. Here we get that file, and you see that it's question.js. So I'm gonna pass that question.js. Now this is act like this array simply here. So after that we access this, the only thing here we have to do is to get a random question. So to do that, here I'm going to define a variable called question length and assign it to the question dot length. And as you see, it's proposed me the methods and property of the array that we normally can use, and this is act like a normal array. So from here, after that we have access to the length of this. I will explain why we access the length of that. We want to generate a random number, or a random number, and that random number is going to be placed in the index of the array, and that array is going to be represented on our web page. So I'm going to define another variable and call it random question, and assign it to, and here we generate a random number. So I'm going to say math.round. This is going to get over of the decimal point of the number. So in this, we're going to again say math.random, and math.random is used to generate a random number between 0 and 1, and we wanted to multiply it with the question.length. If you multiply that with the question.length, that means that you gonna generate a random number between 0 and the length of this, as much as we don't have to count this, that how many elements we have here, and then multiplied by this. This is just going to do it dynamically for us. Now that we have a random number and the length of this here, we can get a question randomly. So how we can get it? Let me pass the quiz holder here first. Quiz holder. If you don't know what is a quiz holder, here is the quiz holder. We wanted to pass the question here. So here, after this, refer to its inner HTML and assign it to the question. I will write it, then I will explain question, random question, and get its question. So what's going on here? First, we point out to its inner HTML. We wanted to represent it on a web page. Then we access the question, which is this one, which is going to refer to this array here, this question array here. And from this question array, we pass this number that we generated randomly. Maybe it's going to be 1, 2, 3, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a random number, but between the length of this array, not a number like 49 that we can't get any element on that array with that index. So from this, we don't want to get all the property from here. We only wanted to get the question. So in this case, I just pass the question here. So after that, now if I save it and go to the browser, before you saw we had nothing here. Now if I refresh it, still we get nothing because we didn't call this function anywhere. So I'm gonna call this function here. I'm gonna say get random question. So now save it, go to the browser. Here we go. Here, every time I refresh, we get a random question. So let's sorry guys. Let's get the answer of this random question that we get its answer. So I'm going to comment here and say get the answer of the random question. And after that here, we're going to come and say like this one, like this that we define here. I'm going to define a variable here and call it random answer, random answer 1, and assign it to the question. Let me just copy this. Copy, Control C, Control V, and from here, for the first time, or here we access the question, but here we wanted to access the answer. So I'm going to say answer 1, or we wanted to get the answer 1 here, and we're going to do the same for the rest, for the second one, for the third one, and for the fourth one. And we also have change here too. We're going to say 2, 3, and 4. So after that, we have to represent these in the web page. So to represent this, we wanted to pass this randomly. We don't want to all the time we get this sort of answer. So we wanted to, for example, for the first time, the PHP be at the answer 1, or the Python be at the first one, like this. So to do that, I'm gonna store all of these variables that I define here in an array. So I'm gonna say const, and here I'm gonna call this as random answer array. So after that, assign it to an array. To define an array, you're going to use the brackets, and this I'm going to pass random answer 1, random answer rando. I type random, sorry guys, random, and here I'm going to come and say random answer. I really got sick. Random answer 1, random answer 2, random answer 3, and a random answer 4. So there we go. And after that, we wanted to sort this randomly again. So how can we do that? Here I use this method all the time. Let me bring it out. You can use the sorted array, the sort method here. So here I'm gonna say sorted array randomly. Sorry, random array And here I'm gonna define another variable here, const sorted sorted array, oh gosh, randomly, and assign it to what we wanted to do here. We wanted to sort these things out randomly, so I'm gonna say random answer random answer array, and call the sort method. If you didn't know about the sort method is going to sort array element in ascending, descending, and randomly. To sort them randomly, I'm going to call a callback function here, and at this callback function we only wanted to return 0.1 minus math.random. So this is going to sort this array for us randomly. Maybe for the first time it came and passed the random answer of the 2 here as a first parameter, maybe 4. We don't know. So we sorted randomly, and after that we sort this randomly, we can represent it on the web page. So to represent this, we're gonna access the answer 1 and refer to its inner HTML, and its inner HTML we're gonna pass the 1 with this and concatenate it with the sorted array randomly. And from the sorted array randomly, which is sorted randomly, we only want to get this first element. So I don't have to explain this, or maybe here maybe the answer will be random answer for the first element. We wanted to get it and pass it to the inner HTML of the answer 1, and we're going to do the same for the rest. And here I'm going to pass this to 1, this to the 2, and this to the 3, and we have to change here 2, 2, 3, and 4, and here also 2, 2, 3, and 3, and 4. So now I save it and go to the browser, refresh. Every time I refresh, I'm gonna get the random answer here. But here is a problem. What's the problem? Here we get the true with the answer. That means that the user easily can understand that which answer is true here. So we have to get over of this and solve this problem. To solve this problem, let me first tell its logic. So what is its logic? First we're gonna search or loop through over this and this array. After we loop through over this array, we have to find out that array element, which is an array. That array element that is an array is mean that that answer is true, and from that answer true we only want to get the first element, not like this to get the true here. So to do that, here I'm gonna write a for loop here. Let me just comment here, check for the array, and write a for loop here. I'm gonna say let counter and assign it to the 0. Then we're gonna say till counter is less than sorted array randomly dot length. We don't want to it to loop through more than sorted array randomly till it's less than that, increase to the counter. And after that, here we are searching for an array. To find out an array, we're going to use the array object and refer to its array method. So I'm going to say is array. What we wanted to check here sorry, we wanted to search for the sorted array randomly, but which elements of that we don't know. We just gonna pass the counter here. So hope it makes sense here. I don't have to explain it, but here I do a few. Here I use the object method object array object here and refer to the as array method. As array is used to return true or false if that element that you pass in its parenthesis or parameter is an array. If it's not an array, it's going to return as false. So false. If it's true, so what we wanted to do here, we wanted to get the index of that. So I'm gonna come here and define a variable here and call it index to be replaced. So after that, I'm gonna assign it to the sorted array. We access this sorted array randomly, and after that we wanted to get its index, so I'm gonna say index of, and from the index of, here in a normal situation you're gonna pass a value and just going to search that value in your application, or I don't know, in your application, and if that exists, it's going to return its index. So in this case that we didn't know what is the element, which element is an array, so we're gonna do it like this: sorted array randomly, and refer to pass to counter here. And here every element that is an array, this if statement is going to return true, and when it's returned true, that means that the statements are going to be ran here. So when those are ran here, we wanted to get the index of that array element, which is an array here. Here we checked. So after that we get its index, we wanted to do something else here. So I'm gonna say random answer array, which is this one, random answer array, and we wanted to replace it with a normal answer here. So I'm gonna say random answer, and in this we're gonna pass the index that we get from here. This index is that array that is an array. That is an array. Again, this index is that index of that array element, which is an array itself. So here I'm gonna pass the index to be replaced here, and after that we wanted to replace it with a normal value. If you're confused, don't be confused with, because this was the most complicated part of this application that I have. Right, so after that, what we wanted to do here, we're gonna say sorted array randomly and refer to the index here. So I'm gonna say sorted array randomly, and get its index. So I'm gonna say index of, and inside this we wanted to pass the sorted array randomly again, and pass the counter here. Then from this we only want to get the first element, not the second element, and using this we can only get the first elements of this array. So now if I save it and go to the browser, refresh, and every time I refresh here we have the JavaScript, because most of the time I pass it to the second element to the JavaScript. We don't have the true here, and here everything is fine. So after that we did, then other things are easier to write, but here we have to do two things. What we have to do, we need this index, so I'm going to just copy this. It should be global, get over of its const, and we're going to pass it to the top and paste it down here. And because we can't reassign value to the const, I'm going to pass it to var. And after that we need one more element here, one more value here, which is sorted array randomly. So I'm going to came here and found out the sorted array randomly. Here we need these two. I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C, and get over of its const, and I go here. We have to access this global, so I'm going to pass this here, and again get over of the const, because we can't reassign to the const and to the const and to the let. So now I'm going to refresh it again to if it's worked perfectly. Yes, it's worked, nothing is wrong here. So after this we have to check if the user is collected on this on the right answer. We represent on the result that the answer is correct. If it's wrong, we want to represent for the user that the answer is wrong. So to do that, here I'm gonna come and write an even listener to each answer. So I'm gonna say answer one dot add even listener. So whenever we wanted to listen to the collect, and we wanted to call a callback function here. So in this callback function here, just focus a few. and you will realize what's going on here. We wanted to check or compare the sorted array randomly, which we define here, sorted array randomly here, compare it to the collected element that we're gonna click here. So to do that, here I'm gonna say sorted array randomly, and we wanted to compare it to the first element, so I'm gonna pass the 0, and to compare something we're gonna pass double or triple assignment here. And after that we're gonna access the sorted array randomly, and that element that we replace its index was the correct answer. So we wanted to compare the first elements of the sorted array randomly, which randomly passed here, to the sorted array randomly, that element that its index is removed. Any index that is removed, or no, sorry, any array element which its a second element is removed was the correct answer. So in this case, I'm gonna pass the index to be replaced here. There we go. This was from application. Now everything is done. Why it gives me error? It's because of this function. Sorry, let me write it from scratch again. Answer. I'm sorry, guys. Add even listener, and then this we're gonna listen to a click, and we're gonna call a callback function here. So I'm gonna say function, and in this function we're just gonna do it like this and write the if statement and say sorted array randomly, and pass a 0 here, and compare it to the sorted array randomly, and that array randomly, that array element which we remove its second parameter, and after that here everything is fine. Sorry, I just messed up something. So now if it's true, here is the result, or we write the condition for if the user click on the right answer. Then we're gonna say result.innerHTML and assign it to the you are right. Result was this element. If you forget it here, this element. So now I save it, and we're gonna write the else statement here, or again call this get random method. So I'm gonna say get random questions, and after that we're gonna write the else statement here. So in this we're gonna say result.innerHTML and assign it to the you are wrong. We're so bad. And after that, again, it's up to you if you wanted to call this method, or if you wanted to represent, or if you wanted to hold on till the user represent or answer the right questions. So I'm gonna say choose the right answers. So again, I call this. Now I save it and go to the browser, refresh it, because we only write the code for this element. Now I click here. What's the most powerful language here? Of course, there's not powerful language, but just for example, I choose it to the JavaScript, but the first element here is not JavaScript, and here we should get you're wrong. So now if I click it, here we get you're wrong, and we only write the answer, the code for the first element. Now we just gonna copy these things out for the other answers. So I'm gonna say copy this, Control C, and came here, Control V, and we have to change this to the 2 because we wanted to check for the second one, and here we have to change it to the 1 because this is the second element, and the second element is going to be passed to the answer 1, and we wanted to write it for the third one, and here I'm gonna came and pass this to 3 and change this to the 3 2, and after this we have to pass it to the fourth one. So I'm gonna say 4 and not 4 3 3, and here pass the 3 2 and 3, and we have to pass 2 here. Sorry, I hope that I didn't pass 2 on here. There we go. Now we have to refresh, and here we get a random question, and here are the answer, and if I click on the right answer, not working. Why? answer 3, answer 3, and this one should be answer 4. So save it, go to the browser, refresh again we get the same what we can create using programming language. I click on, and here we get the you are right, and programmer love to code, hate to code, have to code, need to code. I made this question by myself, and here I can click on a wrong answer, hate to code, and here we get wrong. So this was from this application, and I hope you understand. And yeah, and as our channel name is Joy Learn, you joy from this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. I'll miss you. Bye guys. Bye. So take care. Bye.